Tabletop electronic drums. Are they worth buying, and what are the best brands out there? That's what this video is all about. What's up? Justin here. Welcome to 65 Drums, the place to keep on top of all things electronic drum related. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day. I actually got a comment asking me to compare the Yamaha DD75 versus the Yamaha DD75. I'm going to be doing that later on in the video, but this is a broad topic just talking about tabletop drums in general. Are they worth buying, and what are the best brands out there? So let's start off with, what are tabletop electronic drums? They're basically like a multi-pad, except instead of having one sheet of rubber that is cut up into a bunch of different squares, these are just individual small rubber pads on a plastic body, set up as if you were looking at a drum set from an overhead view. So the snare is right there, the toms are right there, so it's all lined up just like an acoustic drum would be. So if you think a pad is a crash cymbal, it probably is. Now, as a general rule, these tabletop drums usually come with internal speakers. They usually have a battery-powered option in case you don't want to plug them into the wall. Most of the time they come with foot pedals for a hi-hat and a kick drum, and sometimes they come with a stand or even a pair of sticks. So let's talk about the different brands out there. Gotta mention Dd first, because they kind of make you think that there's this humongous ocean of tabletop drums out there when there really aren't. For example, this one right here is the Dd DD75. It's your standard tabletop drum setup. Then take a look at this one. It's by Spectrum. All right, so it's silver, but it looks pretty similar. Let's take a look at this one, the Alesis Compact Kit 7. All right, it's pretty much identical as well. Let's take a look at this one. It's the Pyle Pro PTED01. As you can see, all of these are exactly the same. Now, they may not all have the exact same sounds inside of the sound bank, but the body of them are all exactly the same. If I had to guess, I'd say Dd is behind at least 50% of all electronic drums out there on the market. They make pads for Cap Percussion, for Alesis, for Simmons. They make pads for a lot of different drums. What happens is they order the parts from Dd, their logo gets stamped onto it, and customers think that there's a lot of different choices on the market. At least half of the choices all seem to come from one company, Dd. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that if you're going to buy a Dd branded drum tabletop thing, you might as well spend the least amount for it, because if you're looking at the Pyle Pro and it's 125 bucks, and then you're looking at the Alesis Compact Kit 7 and it's $180, but it's using the exact same body, I'm not sure why you would spend 180 bucks when you could buy nearly the same thing with maybe slightly different sounds for $125. So you know what I mean? So if you're going to go the Dd route, choose the cheapest version of that shelf, just my opinion. Okay, so that's one option, but let's take a look at Yamaha. They have two pads that are selling very, very well right now. It's the Yamaha DD65 and the DD75. I was asked to make a comparison video between these two, so that's what I'm going to do right now. The Yamaha DD65, I do not believe it's in production any longer. It's the previous gen version of the 75, but you can still find it on like Z-Zounds for 180 bucks. Same price as that Alesis Dd option. And then the DD75 is selling right now as the new version for 220 bucks on sweetwater.com. Now, is it worth that extra 40 bucks? That's really up to you, but here are the specs so you can sort of judge for yourself. The Yamaha DD65 and 75 have the exact same body, but the internals are a little bit different. The DD65 has 254 sounds, 50 preset drum kits with 3 custom kit slots, and it weighs just over 9 pounds. The DD75 has the exact same body and everything, but it has 570 sounds, it has 70 programmed drum kits with 10 custom kit slots, and it's just a hair lighter and a hair more power efficient. They both can run off batteries, they both have a master EQ and reverb option, and they have MIDI in and out ports. They also have the exact same pedals. These pedals are really irritating to me because they're not really pedals at all. They're basically giant plastic buttons. I think they really cheaped out on this one. I wish they actually gave you foot controllers like on the DTX 400 line of drum sets that they sell. In fact, those exact pedals on the DTX 400 line are compatible with both of these multi-pads. So you can plug them in and use them instead of these cheap little buttons. And if you're gonna buy this for long-term use, I would definitely do that. But if you're buying this as a short-term purchase, I don't really think it's worth the money. The funny thing is, they use those nice pedals in the ads for the DD75, but they don't actually come included. I find it annoying when drum companies keep showing optional add-ons as if it's part of the drum set, and then they have a little tagline saying, sold separately. Roland did that with their TD50KV. Remember that 22-inch bass conversion thing that they used in their ads for a little bit? Yeah, it's kind of annoying. At first, it made me think that it came with the TD50KV, but I digress. They do have those optional foot pedals that you can buy separately, but again, that's going to be spending more money. So between these two drum pads, I don't really think the DD75 is worth the extra cash. If you're buying this, number one, you're probably trying to save a lot of space. And number two, you're probably on a tight budget. I don't really think it's worth spending the extra money. If you can find them both for like the exact same price, of course, go for the DD75. It has more sounds and a couple of more, kit editor slots. But it doesn't really offer a lot more to just say, hey, you should buy this one instead of that one. Okay, so I like the DD65 better. But what about those Medley options? They're a lot cheaper. Like the DD65 is gonna be 180 bucks, but you could probably find one of those Medley versions for 125 bucks. Is it really worth spending that extra money to buy the Yamaha version, even if it might be slightly nicer? In my mind, I don't really think it's worth buying the Yamaha one, honestly. I always recommend spending more money and buying the nicer product if you can. If you're going to be playing this only for like 6 months, maybe a year, buy that Medley version. It's not really worth the extra money to buy the Yamaha version. But if you're going to be playing this sort of long term, if you're going to be playing this as like a songwriting tool, like an idea generator, and you might be using it for a couple of years, or if you know that you'll be in this really tight space constraint for a long period of time, maybe 1 to 5 years, buy the Yamaha version. But if you know this is going to be a stopgap, just so you can get some practice in, have some fun, you're not going to be using it all the time, buy that Medley one and save a few bucks. That's just what I think. But in general, if you can save up a little bit more money and buy an Alesis Nitro for $300, you're going to have twice as much fun. Because honestly, tabletop drums are not incredibly fun to play. They're okay. They do the job, but they're really not that fun to play. I remember playing the Yamaha DD75 at a church once. It's a little bit weird, it takes some getting used to, but eventually you can do some pretty decent drumming on one of these tabletop drum sets. It's just not something that I would want to play for very long periods of time. The pads on the Yamaha DD65 are pretty hard. They're not like this gum rubber, like really fun to play, like a Roland HD3 or an Alesis Nitro. They're not like this soft rubber material. It's pretty hard. Also, I do want to mention that the Alesis and Medley options, they have USB MIDI. Meanwhile, the Yamaha version has MIDI and an out port. So if that's something important to you, that's something to keep into consideration. So in conclusion, if you're going to be playing this for 1 to 5 years, go buy that Yamaha one because it's probably going to last a longer period of time. But if you're only going to be playing this for like 6 months or a year, go buy one of those Medley versions. Like look at this one, the Spectrum one. It actually comes with the drum stand and a pair of drumsticks. And with the Yamaha, you're going to have to buy a snare drum stand separate. So yes, just keep that in consideration. Anyway, if you own one of these or if you've played one of them, I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in a few.